And welcome to the Digital Cash Evolution right here in Phoenix, Arizona on KFNX. If you have any questions about digital currencies, give us a call at 602-277-KFNX. I'm decentralized at the moment. I'm here in I think I'm in Nashville at a Walmart parking lot, actually broadcasting from my RV, and Doug is in studio. Doug, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. How's your week going, Doug?
Oh, man, it is busy. We're having fun and teaching people about crypto, but yeah, it's great so far.
You know, I've been following what you're doing, and you're adding more ATMs into the Phoenix area. How is that going?
Excellent. We just launched two. One today. It's actually later this evening. We'll be finished the install, and then we installed our last one just a week or two ago. So I mean, we're blazing along. But yeah, the new one is at 32nd Street and Cactus Road at an AM/PM. Actually, right up the road from Classic Crust. The other new one from a week ago is a mobile gas station at 35th Avenue in Union Hills.
All right, so people can go out and get cryptos, and those are only hosting Bitcoin at the moment, or how's that going?
They're Bitcoin and Litecoin at the moment. So you can get Litecoin as well.
Yeah, and we're looking to add more coins soon. So are you going to be able to go out to Classic Crust tonight and invite people out, or should we just invite people out to Classic Crust Pizza?
Absolutely, yeah. Come on out. I'll be heading there. I'll probably be there by 6, by 7 for sure, but probably by 6. I mean, we'll just be there answering questions, doing trades if you want. So listeners here today, come on down and, get your questions answered. And also, call in if you want, or we have a Facebook live stream going on right now too. If you don't want to call in, you're a little shy there, you can go on find us on the Phoenix Crypto Facebook page, find the live stream, and I'm following that. So if anybody has questions, we'll answer your questions here on the air too.
Yeah, definitely. And we have a guest also coming up in the second segment who will talk about some of the other things that you can actually do with cryptocurrencies. Everybody's talking about trading and all these other, illegal activities or whatever. But we have Connie Galippi who is going to call in. She's going to tell us some of the stuff that they've been doing in African nations and all around the world, actually, with a corporation or a company called BitGive. It's a 501c3 that actually allows people to do charitable giving with different cryptocurrencies.
I love that we're looking and presenting different use cases right now. I'm a frequent advocate of seeking out topics in the spaces outside of price and speculation, and so to see this actually being used in the real world is what I love and what I get excited about.
Right. And then even in the second segment, we'll have a UXI developer who formerly worked with Dash, who will be working on one of the new radio shows that we're going to be having on Bloomberg Radio. And he's going to be able to add a lot of technical advice for us so that we can find out more about cryptocurrencies and, just the importance of the user interface with cryptocurrencies, because that seems to be kind of an issue right now, the grandma button, as Ernie would say. Oh yeah,
that was a topic I kind of had in mind to maybe address today too. And so before I jump to that, I want to mention, in addition to, if you want to come down to Classic Crust tonight, we do finally have our next meetup that's a more formal, where I do a presentation. We finally got the date and the time and the location secured. So that's going to be on July 11th at Don's New York Pizza on 75th Avenue in Peoria. And so that's going to be at 7 p.m. And come down. We're going to do a presentation that's intro to Bitcoin and Q&A, and
so that'll be that's a Wednesday night as well, then, right?
Yeah. So, yep, it'll be on Wednesday. We like to do it after the show.
There's more information to come then about that, and as each show progresses. Of course, next week I think is the 4th of July, so it'll be a recorded a replay for that one. So, but listen in anyway.
Perfect.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, did you? So then that's what I was gonna jump into today. Then was I met with someone after the show last week. I love we put it out there for people to come on down, and we love it when people do actually show up. So a guy showed up last week Wednesday at Classic Crust afterwards, and he came in and he was very curious, but his knowledge level was so limited that he sat down, and basically what he said to me was, I'm here and I know so little that I came here to tell you to tell me what questions I should be asking, because we sat down and I'm like, all right, well, what questions do you have for me? And so that really kind of got me thinking. After that, I do my best to present, the basics, definitions, and not take certain things for granted when I'm describing Bitcoin. And I have a meeting like that, and I see just how new and just how intimidating this can be, to where even when I think I'm doing a decent job.
Yeah, definitely.
Of dumbing it down. Yeah,
we've been at this for so long that we lose sight of what the typical questions would be. And our first show, we had a guy that sat in with us, and he asked us questions that we didn't expect. So definitely call in, because we don't have all the questions. So at 602-277-KFNX if you have any questions. Even during our while we're interviewing the other guests that are coming on today, call in then and have if you have questions for them as well.
So for if you're just tuning in, the show here is a we talk about the basics and intro to cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, and so just for the new ones tuning in for the first time, Bitcoin cryptocurrencies are a new version of cash, digital cash, as you'll hear the term, and so what that is it's a way of transacting value outside of the banking system, and so and also without having to ask permission, provide your identity. We all know the identity theft we're always at risk, and so Bitcoin is a way to do this outside of the banking system. And so that's what's I think most exciting is the economic freedom that can provide. Not just, we take it for granted in the first world that these things are, banking is, it's a right almost, like we have, and in second and third world countries, that most of the world is unbanked and underbanked.
It's funny we say this is outside the banking system, but this is becoming the banking system.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really is.
So, do you want to expand on that? We got 30 seconds, but
I'm just
discourage us too at cryptocurrencies. They'll try to shut our bank accounts down and all of this, but yet on the back end, they're trying to integrate blockchain technology.
Exactly.
That's the way you do it. It's like a bank in a box.
Solution right here on KFNX in Phoenix. The number, if you want to call in, is 602-277-KFNX if you have any questions about cryptocurrencies. And we have a great guest on the line, and we want to talk to her about some of the stuff that she's been doing. She's actually been doing this for several years, I believe 2013. Connie, are you there?
Yes, hello. Thanks for having me.
Hey. Yeah, great to have you. How long have you been doing the BitGive Foundation?
You are correct. Yes, we founded the organization almost exactly 5 years ago in July of 2013.
Oh, awesome. Okay, yeah, I remember seeing you guys at the first Texas Bitcoin conference in Austin on, I think, was it March of 2014, and that there was a whole lot of different charitable stuff that was framed around that conference, and I guess that's when you guys kind of made your debut, or at least one of the conferences there. Can you tell us about some of the great stuff that you guys have been doing? Because, I do a lot with it myself, and you hear so much about what cryptocurrencies are used for that are bad. It's, crime this, drugs that. What do you do with cryptocurrencies?
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of that. Our focus is very different. Our focus from day one has been about leveraging the technology and the currency for nonprofits and for global philanthropy. So, we're actually a nonprofit ourselves, and all of our work has been about supporting other nonprofits raising funds in Bitcoin, teaching them about blockchain and Bitcoin technology. And now we have a platform that we're building called GiveTrack, which we currently have a minimum viable product out live. And it's about not just crowdfunding for charities in Bitcoin, but also leveraging the transparency of the blockchain. So having donors be able to view on the blockchain their funds moving from one place to another, and then seeing what actually happened with the funds.
Awesome. Yeah, that's one of the other things with Bitcoin is the blockchain and being able to track all of your transactions and prove them and where they went. Sometimes you may not be able to actually prove that went to the proper place, but if you're paying attention to what these organizations are doing, you can actually see the good that they're doing. And I know you guys have done things with wells in Africa. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the projects you've already completed?
Sure. Yeah. So our project in Kenya is our most well-known one, that we raised enough money amongst the Bitcoin community to fund a water well at a girls' school. And it's in a pretty remote area of western Kenya near Lake Victoria. And they put in a well at the school, and it serves over 500 people. So there's a primary school next door, and then the secondary school where the girls' school is, and then the surrounding community. And it's been a huge benefit to the schools and to the community. They were before they had the well, walking very far distances to collect water from the local creek, and it was filthy. So they're carrying it around. They're not spending time in classes, and then they're trying to clean this absolutely filthy water with chlorine tablets. They're boiling it. So it made a big difference to have a well on the school site and to save them time in class, but also it improved, a lot of their health and sanitation as well.
Right. So how did you get into Bitcoin? I mean, did it have anything to do with BitPay, or I know your brother is Pay. Is that how you got into it?
Yeah, but he didn't convince me in any way. But I was essentially exposed to Bitcoin and the technology through him. So he got involved really early on. I think probably in 2011 or something. And I always was really excited about what he was doing. And from my perspective, I immediately saw how this technology could access people in the most remote areas of the world and get them, get funding to them. And that was really what inspired me about Bitcoin. But I never planned on getting involved personally. But then, just a few years later, I went to an event that he was, that BitPay was kind of coming out with their first seed round. And that was when it really hit me what the potential was for not only the technology, but the industry as a whole. And it inspired me to start BitGive and try to capture the potential and have an entity for giving back, that the industry could, focus on ways to give back through an institution.
And Connie, now I know there's some initiatives, and I don't know if you guys are contributing or any part of this, but talk about some of the in some of the more oppressive countries for women, how they're in Code to Inspire, I think, is one project, but it's allowing countries where women are more oppressed. They're not able to have bank accounts. They can have their money stolen from their fathers, brothers, whatever, the males, and for having their own money. And so a lot of them are using Bitcoin to insert themselves into the global economy, or at least into business entrepreneurship, and they're learning to program and code. And are you guys involved in that? I know, I'm sure you guys endorse it and everything, but are you guys involved in that project?
No, well, I've known Fareshta for quite some time and have been really supportive of her and what she's doing. And we reached out to, well, first personally, I did support Code to Inspire when they started their first school, but that was my own personal contribution. But we reached out to her when we launched GiveTrack, because I really wanted Code to Inspire to be one of our first pilot projects, because the idea is to be able to see where the money is going. And in her case, we could, track the donations all the way to the girls in the school. But at the time, they weren't ready to do it. So I actually would like to circle back with her and see if maybe we can open up that conversation again, because I absolutely love what she's doing.
Well, regardless, you guys are working on so many of your own projects. I mean, that's just one example that I was using, but I know that you guys are doing similar things, and you guys have your hands in a lot of empowering projects as well, too, so I think that's awesome.
Well, thank you.
Is GiveTrack, is this kind of the project that you're working on to show all of the different things around the world that people are doing with blockchain for charities, or is that a different project?
It's similar, the idea is that it's a platform where charities can fundraise in Bitcoin, kind of like a crowdfunding site for charities to raise funds in Bitcoin, but it's more than that in the sense that we're also encouraging them to keep the money in Bitcoin, move it on the blockchain, and then the platform has a way to track that for donors. They can actually see where their money is on the blockchain, not just on, not just the kind of really hard to understand aspects of the technical blockchain, but we built like a layer on top of that to show them where their money is going. So it's more engaging. Yeah.
Does this also give the person who looks at this a way of checking out projects that they may be interested in and finding those projects that need funding?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's a lot like, like an Indiegogo kind of thing where right now we just have one live project because we have it's an MVP. So we're kind of trickling pilots in. But you can go to givetrack.org and see some of the other projects that we've already funded, and then we should have some more new ones coming online as well really soon. And so you can choose something you want to support, make a contribution, and then you can track your money. They won't move the money until they reach their goal, and then they'll start moving the money to implement the project. So You'll be able to see that and also see results. There's a reporting side where they report on status and share pictures and things like that.
I think accountability is so important to that particular industry and just charities.
Another aspect that's really cool about this is, during the hurricane last year, I was able to just dart right into the hurricane, and the funds were sent to me while we were still on air doing a radio show. And that night we headed to the storm with that money, and I was able to get it onto my Shift card and buy the things that I needed from Walmart on the way there just that fast.
And Danny, how much of that did you have to spend on overhead so that say only 10% went to the people? How much of it went to the actual people?
So there you have it. That's another aspect, just the speed of it.
Yep.
He gave us all
It's Arizona. Although I'm coming to you from, where am I coming to you from? Memphis, Nashville, somewhere. I forget what city I'm in half the time. Let's finish up with just some final information from Connie to give people information how they can get involved with BitGive and GiveTrack. Connie, go ahead and give us the details, and we will follow up soon, of course, with more information on this. This is just kind of a teaser of what Connie's up to right now, and then we're going to get into it with Chuck Williams, a UX developer for Dash.
Awesome. Okay. Well, great. Thanks so much for having me. So folks are interested in learning more about BitGive. They can go to our website, bitgivefoundation.org. And we're also on social media, Facebook and Twitter are our main channels. And then GiveTrack is where I was talking about the crowdfunding options for different projects, and that's at givetrack.org. And right now we have a really fun project that we're raising money for Open Mind Africa, which is a summer camp to help students develop mindset, character, and skills for academic and career success in Africa. And the camp is actually held in Ghana. So we're pretty excited about that. And then we have a couple more projects coming up pretty quickly. So there'll be some more options soon on GiveTrack.
Okay, and one more thing is, if people, we're trying to introduce people to cryptocurrencies on this show. If people aren't into cryptocurrencies yet, how can they get involved with what you're doing?
Oh, wow. Well, there's still plenty they can do. Lots of information on our website, so they can learn more about how to leverage this technology for philanthropy and why we're so focused on that. And then also on the GiveTrack platform, even if you just want to follow a project and you're not necessarily donating to it, you can do that. And there's just an easy follow button. And then you can actually see how it all works without necessarily being a donor and get more comfortable with how the system works and how it's different from maybe a different, some other way of, traditional donating.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Connie, and everybody stay tuned. We will have Connie back on soon with more updates. She's got a project that we're working on, or that she's working on, that's going to involve a lot of other charities, and it's kind of a way of getting the information out there of what other people are doing around the world with cryptocurrencies in the name of charity. So if you do have a charitable heart, here's a good reason for you to get involved with cryptocurrencies, just to find out more about this. And that's what this show is all about, is to try to get people involved with cryptocurrencies. Thanks so much, Connie. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Connie.
All right. And Doug, we have Chuck Williams on the line. Chuck, are you there?
Great.
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Oh, wow.
Yes.
You sound great. All righty. So Chuck is a UX developer, and when we started off the show, Doug and I were talking about the user experience with cryptocurrencies and how that it's pretty much lacking. And this is something that Chuck has been working on for quite some time. Doug, what do you face most about the user interface in cryptocurrencies? I mean, what are some of the biggest questions? What would you want to ask Chuck about this?
I think a lot of the times when I have customers that I think more often it's the fear of the unknown. Now, there's certainly a ton of room for improvement in user experience in the app, across the different apps and things like that. But a lot of the times, this is why I always just say, just try it. Just try it once. And when they see that transaction go through and it takes under a minute, and then ding, they've received Bitcoin on their end, and they're going, why was I so intimidated trying to research this for the last week or whatever, and the simplicity of the process itself. But as far as the UX, there's room for improvement just across about every app. So I'm excited to hear what Dash is working on and what you're working on.
Yes. Well, you kind of hit the nail on the head right there. You really have to try crypto to just kind of understand what it's about. You can do research all day long, and you can look at economic policies, and you can look at history, but that's what UX is about. It's about understanding that moment, that experience where you've gone through your initiation of how to do a thing. I mean, I don't know how many people actually remember the first time they sent an email, or the first time they logged onto a website, or installed a browser, or even powered up a computer, or wrote their first line of code. But those are all like experiences that end up changing lives. If you're into that kind of thing, or if it brings value into your life, you're hooked. And I always like to say, no coiner, anybody who owns cryptocurrency, becomes a no coiner. I don't know if you're familiar, but there's a term going around the crypto sphere about how there's no coiners, people who don't own coins or aren't interested in owning coins. and they tend to be on one side of a particular kind of fence. But it is that experience. Once you've experienced it, it's going to change your mind in some way. You can continue not to like it, but you really have to experience it. And that's why experience is a very important aspect of the cryptocurrency space. So yeah, I agree with you. You do have to try it. There is that great fear of the unknown. And that's one of the things that I really love about what people do, like Dashforce News and Danny, going around to the conferences and just setting up wallets all day long. I must say that's probably the most effective adoption mechanism possible. And I think second only to, or not even second only, but maybe followed by the wallet itself, because there's so many options on wallets and things like that. But, looking ahead, one of the things I love about Dash is that they are trying to make it simple for end users in a way that's going to bring personalization. They're going to have a username, and with usernames, you're going to be able to send and receive values. So that's going to open up a whole new horizon of experiences to build on top of, that's going to blend the banking and financial experience with the social experience. And I can't wait to see what comes out of that.
How do they separate that? So I want to send money to Joe or Ted. How do I know that Joe or Ted is not someone else? I mean, how do you...
The usernames are going to have to be unique. How do you make sure that you've got the right person on Twitter? It's kind of a risk if you're following them. Is that the right I mean, it's not as much of a risk because you're just following information. But if you're talking about financial transactions, I think most people are going to be naturally inclined to confirm the validity of a contact name by username as they would like a phone number. You just do a test transaction or a test call or a test text or a test message even. That might come for free on this kind of network where you can just do a quick message to make sure that you connected to the right person and then send the payment. I think there's all kinds of options there.
Right, definitely. Yeah, and I think one of the other things is, we're always talking about Classic Crust Pizza. That's a great way to really get the feel for this, is to go down there and actually purchase a beer, a slice of pizza, in a business that accepts it.
Yeah, there's no substitute. Sorry, Dan.
Person, but to actually use it in a business for commerce is really, really cool.
Go ahead.
There's no substitute to sitting down in front of someone that can consult or just walk you through it versus trying to watch videos online. That's a one-way medium. It's a monologue where you can ask questions and get your questions answered and see it physically, right in front of your faces. There's no substitute for that, and that's exactly why we encourage and people to come down to see us at Classic Crust Pizza and get your questions answered.
Well,
I think that's great.
Where is Classic Crust Pizza, Doug? Give us the address, and if you're listening and you have any questions, it's 602-277-KFNX. So give us a call there. But Doug, go ahead. Where is Classic Crust Pizza, and how can someone come and set up a wallet, get some Dash or Bitcoin or whatever, and buy a pizza and a beer?
Yeah, that is at Cave Creek and Cactus Road. I pretty much go down there after each show every Wednesday, and I'm there on most other days too, but I be sure to get down there on Wednesdays, and so that you folks can come on down and chat with me. I had a gentleman come down last week, and I think you can see that aha moment as he kind of gets his questions answered, and so I think that experience is the best way to get introduced to cryptocurrency, and it's free.
Yeah, it's free. And did you buy him a beer at least using cryptocurrency?
No, he was he was just there requested. He was telling Alex, he said, I promise I'll come back and order something next time. I kind of just needed to ask some questions and bolt today, but I feel bad for him. But yeah, he said, I'll come back down. That's the other thing is, who doesn't like pizza and beer?
In previous weeks, you had people down there asking you questions about some random currency that you didn't even know anything about. So if you've listened to some other show or you heard something on the internet about some crazy coin, maybe you should definitely get involved with the community and get some feedback from people who are not there to rip you off, who are just eager to help you and get you into the community.
Yep, and that is our thing. We are community focused, and so we just want to give you guys the pitfalls that could be coming.
If you said that Bitcoin was my
Welcome back to Digital Cash Evolution right here in Phoenix, Arizona. And we're going to talk about just what's going on in cryptocurrencies. And if you have any questions, definitely give us a call at 602-277-KFNX, and we'd be glad to answer any of your questions. And be sure to come out tonight by 7 p.m. at the Classic Crust Pizza at Cave Creek. And what's the name of that street?
Cactus.
Cave Creek and Cactus Road.
Cave Creek and Cactus Road, and we'll be out there to help you set up a wallet, give you some cryptocurrency, help you buy a beer with that crypto. And what do you say, Doug? You want to talk about some of the crazy stuff that goes in the news? How many times has Bitcoin died or cryptocurrency has died? The market crashed. All of these fear-mongering things, when this is really kind of a best time to look at purchasing cryptocurrencies or get into them. Don't mortgage your house or anything like that. But what do you think about that, Doug?
Yeah, I mean, I always point out that Bitcoin doesn't break the rules of investing, and a lot of the time, I actually try to shy away from using the terms, investing and speculating when it comes to cryptocurrencies. I
agree with that,
and I know Danny, you did too. We got into this for the philosophy of it, and the price is going to be volatile. That's a factor of the space, and you'll see it more as you get involved. But if you focus on learning,
once I figured out that you can't infinitely cut the piece of pie and get more pieces of pie. Like if I buy a pizza, a Classic Crust Pizza, and I buy 10 slices, but I want to cut it into 12, they're actually smaller. I don't get 2 new pieces, and that's kind of what we're getting from the Federal Reserve. Is they get to just infinitely slice our money, and if you don't notice that every time you go to the grocery store, you better check your meds. But
and Xander had some thoughts.
The longer they keep that invisible to the public, the longer people will not understand what's happening to their money.
You talked about this earlier when we were talking about identities. The idea of blockchain is so much more than just a currency. It's more than a commodity. It's a first time we've had unique information that can't be duplicated. I mean, there's value in that data alone, and it can be used on so many different levels. So we keep coming back to it being currency, but it really is something that's revolutionizing the entire world. It's going to be the lifeblood of the digital age in the coming future here. I mean, the idea that you can, accounting firms, law firms, birth certificates, titles, whatever you want, can be stored on the blockchain. It's immutable. It's there forever, and it holds a value. So there's so much more that this stuff can do.
It'd be like saying
talk to friends about. Oh, go ahead, Doug.
It would be like saying the internet is just email, right? So email is only one application of the internet, and we now know, so many other tools have been built on top of the internet, and so. Continue. Chuck, go ahead with your thought.
Yeah, I was just going to say, back to investing, I tell friends that I'm close to when they're talking about cryptocurrency as an investment, I say, well, it's if you're looking at it as an investment, you have to kind of ask yourself, well, what are you looking for a return on with this investment? Are you asking for dollars back? Because in my opinion, this is such a fundamental change that I don't want the dollars anymore. I'm trying to exit from that system and enter into this new system. Risky as it is, this is what's coming. This is the new system, and that's just kind of, it seems fundamental to me at this point. The way that the internet has changed our reality, so too shall cryptocurrency. We're only in the 1 to 3% adoption range. It's going to be a little bit before we see the significant changes that are to come.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes. Another customer experience I had this week too was one I've had before, and many of us have had in just conversations. I was doing a Bitcoin trade, and the lady said, "Is it true?" She was very new as well. She said, "Is it true that Bitcoin can be used to launder money and do illegal things?" and we laugh at it because we know how ridiculous a statement like that is.
I almost don't believe that somebody actually asked you.
But no, she asked me that straight out, and she barely knew anything about Bitcoin, and I just kind of went into my normal kind of rebuttal to that is, criminals, when they're running away from policemen, are wearing shoes, and they can run a lot faster because they have shoes on. So shoes are just a tool. Should we place blame on the fact that criminals are wearing shoes? So it's kind of takes a ridiculous kind of anecdote like that to illustrate, how ridiculous the idea that Bitcoin.
Well, not just that. I mean, that's the last thing let me see. I'm going to commit a crime. Let me go ahead and put the evidence somewhere where I can never erase it.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think I would use cash if I was going to launder.
Yeah, and that's the other thing I answer
and
with
banks.
is cash is used so much, more widely used as a laundering mechanism or any criminal activity than anything else in the world.
Just test a $100 bill. There's probably cocaine on it.
Yeah. Bitcoin has a trackable history. Yeah, a $100 bill is much more suited for something like that.
Yeah, I mean, a perfect example is the Silk Road and all the other sites that they've taken down. Those people were caught because there was a trail. There are ways to anonymize yourself with cryptocurrencies if you take extra measures, but it's not really a good idea to go around committing crimes and putting it on the blockchain.
Yeah, and besides, the benefit that it can bring to society so far outweighs, the small percentage of people that are doing bad things with it. We know there's illegal activity on the internet. People use the internet for facilitating illegal things all the time. But we know the benefit to society as a whole so vastly outweighs that small percentage of people doing nefarious things.
You guys are right. You can easily apply this argument to any ubiquitous thing. You don't punish people for breathing air, even though they might yell horrible things in your face after they've inhaled it, right? Like, these are choices that individual people make.
Right.
Exactly.
The pencil doesn't make the error.
I mean, just what we've done. We talked to Connie in the second segment, and personally, I've done a lot of the very same things that she was talking about with Dash. Dash sponsors us to go around and do this stuff. And, like I was talking about, we darted into a hurricane to help people out who had just lost their homes. There were people who did the very same thing in Florida. We actually organized that for a guy who was part of the Libertarian Party who actually helped people for Hurricane Maria. They're doing it right now in Puerto Rico. People are still helping there. I'm building houses in Mexico. I'm rebuilding a senior citizen center. These are things that we do with cryptocurrency. So we're not trying to launder money. We're actually trying to prove our use case of what this is. And the best use case is for you to come out tonight to Classic Pizza and get you some beer with some cryptocurrency.
Yeah, and we also do. Phoenix Crypto is my company. We also do one-on-one consultations too. So if you want to do something more formal or something longer, or of course you're more than welcome to come down for the Classic Crust and informal. But if you have a very specific use case, you're struggling with your wallet, or you have an exchange account where they've locked up your money. I had that happen this week, and she's not going to get her money, which is very unlikely to get her money back because she was holding it on an exchange. And so we can sit down with you and help you with some of the more complex issue too, as well as just kind of the intro questions.
Right, yeah, because I think you'll also hear people trying to tell you not to use an exchange, that they will handle that process for you. Come to them, pay a fee. That's not a good idea. I mean, if you don't know how to log on to an exchange, you probably don't need to be investing on that level with cryptocurrencies yet anyway.
Right.
Go ahead and start out with the pizza and the beer.
Yeah, come to us, and we'll give you best security practices, best practices in general. Have this woman come to us first. I could have pointed her away from Coinbase, where they've locked up her money essentially, and so you can learn a lot about the best practices just by talking with people and us and other people in the industry. And that's what's great about Classic Crust too. I'm not the only one there. The owner knows all about crypto, and about half the patrons there on most days are crypto enthusiasts. So it's a fun discussion almost every day.
I'm glad you guys are out there doing that.
Awesome.